Hi, I'm David Mulligan, and welcome back to the Writers Bloc. This is the virtual channel network. Today we are going to go over Brian Helgeland's L.A. Confidential, which just so happens to be an Oscar-winning movie. We had in the past, we had gone over The Postman, written by Brian Helgeland also, with Eric Roth. And the reason that I'm doing another script for Brian is, the interesting thing is, L.A. Confidential won the Oscar for that year. But that's not the only movie that Brian wrote that came out. The Postman also came out in the same year. And ironic enough as it is, The Postman won the Razzie. And if you don't know what the Razzie is sort of like for doing very poorly. It's the prize for doing very poorly. For instance, Halle Berry got one for Catwoman. I don't know if you saw Catwoman, but it was a terrible movie. Not her fault. But it was a terrible movie, and she got the Razzie. And what's equally cool, I don't know if you know this, Halle Berry actually accepted her Razzie, which was kind of cool. Very few people accept a Razzie. Brian also accepted the Razzie. In the same year, he accepted an Oscar and stated, and you'll see this on his IMDb and the trivia and personal stuff. Go on IMDb for Brian Helgeland, and you'll see more about him. That's where I got a lot of the information, as well as the script too. But he said that he's going to put the Razzie with his Oscar. He's going to display it with his Oscar. I really liked that. I don't know if you would call that humility or just being humble or just loving the irony of it. I'm not really sure, but I really like that. It means a lot to me. So I really wanted to go over the two scripts. And as you saw when we went over The Postman before this, I liked The Postman. I like Kevin Costner, so maybe I'm biased. But I really liked the screenplay on its own. L.A. Confidential, obviously, is an incredible movie. Oh, my God. I love the movie. It's kind of like one of those movies like The Usual Suspects that is just with you forever. And this script is no exception. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and jump in, and let's see what Brian does. Let's go to... I don't have a page here, so we'll go ahead and throw it up, and you're just going to have to follow along with me. Definitely read the script yourself. Go on to IMSDB, which is International Media Screenplay Database, just like IMDb with a little S in there, Screenplay Database, and get the script and read it, and you can follow along with me. Or just follow along with me, I don't care. All right. The first thing that we're going to look at, we go down 4 lines to the 4th dialogue where the chief says, "I'll guarantee you a slap on the wrist, a brief suspension followed by temporary transfer from narcotics to advice. A beat. When you transfer out of vice, you'll be back on the show." And Jack says, "The show, sir?" "Badge of honor, Vincennes. We need to tone down your profile for a bit. The chief just got Jack where he lives." I love that. It says in a very concise amount of words. It says a lot. It didn't say he hurt him. He felt personally hurt now. He said just got him where he lives, because that's where he lives. And I like that. It says a lot about the chief. It says a lot about Jack, and said in a very concise way. Think about that. Good stuff. Really love his writing for that, too. Okay, moving down, take a look at this page. I really like this. The chief says, "Your talents lie elsewhere, Wendell. It's a muscle job and a shooting job. You'll do what I say and not ask questions. Do you follow my drift?" And Bud says, "In Technicolor." And I love that because Technicolor is... part of the vocabulary of the day. I'm not sure exactly when this takes place, but I should imagine it takes place in the 40s or the 50s. It's sort of like film noir, but not. They shot it a little bit differently. But I like when they say things that point to the time and it's accurate. You know what I mean? And I really like the Technicolor. I should imagine Technicolor was a big thing then. So make sure that when you're writing your story, if it's a period piece or something like that, make sure they don't say things that might not happen in that universe. So, okay, moving on. As we move on, We'll see the city jail hallway scene. First line of dialogue for Bud, he says, I hear you like to hit women. And the prisoner says, my wife, she's dropping the charges, so it's none of your business. Bud enters, closes the door behind him. A beat. We hear the sounds of fists on flesh. It's Bud's business now. I love that. It's Bud's business now. And we're not that far into the script, 20-odd pages, and I know this Bud character very well now. Very cool. And a lot of it is coming out of very small things. It's not a big 5-line paragraph of action description telling all the backstory of Bud. No, it lets it out in little bits and spurts in really good stuff, like it's Bud's business now. Oh, so apparently Bud's business is fists on flesh. Not bad. So something to consider. Moving on. This I like. You have a scene where you have two people talking on the phone. There's lots of different ways to do this. You can do the VO or the OS. You can actually physically cut between them with the scene heading and stuff like that. But it takes up space. So some people say, like he says here, intercut with Jack on his desk. Jack calls him up and says, Sid, it's Vincennes. Jackie, you back on Narco? I need copy. Intercut with Jack at his desk. So we're intercut between two locations, but we really only are looking at it from the location of the Hush Hush magazine office, as you see. I like that he put in intercut with Jack at his desk and left it at that. He didn't put it at the top. He only put it in the scene where it becomes apparent. He could have put it right at the top. Sid Hutchins sits behind his desk, answers the phone, and then you can say intercut with Jack at his desk, but he doesn't. He puts it down a little bit lower, picks up the phone, voiceover, Jack in voiceover says, Sid, it's Vincennes, and then the rest of it, there is no VO, there is no OS, as if they're in the same room. I think it works. I think it works well. And I might do it this way. There are a lot of different ways to do it. This just happens to be a way that looks very concise, and it communicates to the reader what is happening without just putting so much on the page. You want to have as little as possible on the page without taking away what you want to communicate, right? That's what I think anyway. Something to consider for your writing. And that's it for this installment of the Writer's Block. I'm David Mulligan for the Virtual Channel Network. Come join me next time when we continue our coverage of Oscar-winning screenplay L.A. Confidential by Brian Hegland.